Ezu Chacham. Who is the wise man? That's the mission of us. And everybody knows the answer. Alomi Mikol Adam. Learning from every person. What is that, to learn from every person? Is that like a Ben Adam L'Chaveiro thing? Like, obviously, Yisrael loving all Jews, or helping someone whose pack is falling off, donkey's about to falter? We'll get back to that. But first, let's discuss for a few moments Sfiras Omer. What is Sfira all about? What are we supposed to be focusing on during these days? Listen to this famous Sefer Chinuch, Mitzvah Shin Vav 306. It's such a great piece, I'm going to read it word by word. Mishartzei Mitzvah Sefer Chinuch that explains the rationale in a way that we can grasp, and about Kabbalah, etc. Al Tzad Pshat. We should call Yikar Yisrael Ein El Torah. The whole Iker, the whole point of Klal Yisrael is Torah. The echo of the famous words of Sajigon, Ein Umazu El Umel B'Toraso, Umimnei HaTorah Nibru Shamayim V'Eretz Yisrael. The Torah is, because of it, the world was created. Eretz Yisrael was created. Via Iker V'Asi B'Shenigalu V'Yotzim Mitzrayim. And that was what Mitzias Mitzrayim is all about. Kidei Shikablu HaTorah B'Sina V'Kaimua. Not free l'shem freedom, Cherus l'shem Cherus. Objective value to be free. We became free in order to makabel the Torah, to Meshabbat ourselves. Since that's our whole point. And for it we were redeemed. And all the greatness that the Jewish people accomplished in the 49 days. That was all about that. Therefore, so we count from after Pesach until that day. Here are the key lines. Laharos b'nafshenu, to show in ourselves hachefetz hagadol, our tremendous desire, elayom hanichbad v'nichsaf libenu, to get to the day that's honored and desired by us. K'eved yishav tzel, like an eved working hard in the sun, desires a little bit of shadow. V'yimna tamid, and he counts constantly. Masa yavo ha'es hanechsaf elav. Anytime we see this Moses, people get married. They're counting down the days. 1 week, 2 weeks, counting. Maybe some people did that on their way to yeshiva. That would have been incredible. Yimna tamid, mata yavo. I mean, in high school we did it. When vacation's coming. V'yimna tamid, mata yavo es hanechsaf elav she'etz l'cheirus. When? Ki aminyan, counting mar'eh la'adam ki kol yishuv v'chol hitzov l'gil azman hazeh. Once one counts down to something, 10, 9, 8, counting down. Super Bowl is only this many days away. So that's the Tam Pashut, what Sfira is all about. Counting Sfira every night. A person can think about this before they count. There, it's interesting, everybody jumps and says the Tefillah, which is very Kabbalistic. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but maybe think about the Tam Pashut. I'm counting down to a great day called Shavuos. And Shavuos is the day that we don't kabbalah the Torah. Even if you know what Tefer Shebenetzach is, you can know what that is. And the Chinuch says that's why we count up as opposed to counting down. We should count 49, 48, 47, 46. But that would be too much for us. 49, oh my gosh, 49 days left till Shavuos. We're only 48 days away. That's too much for a Jewish soul to handle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it feels positive. Imagine this picture. Think of yourself during a long, hot, muggy desert tiyul that you don't even want to go on. The Rabbi Schneider first. Ke'ebed yishav tzel, like an eved is yishav tzel. Laharis b'nafshenu achevitz hagadol, our tremendous desire liyom hanichbad v'nechsaf, this wondrous day, this happy day, this awesome day of Shavuos. So, accordingly, this is the time in the year most when we're supposed to be feeling a tremendous desire for Torah. That's what it's all about. We often evaluate ourselves. I always like to repeat this point. I think it's so essential. Others, ourselves, our children, by how much we know, what we do, what they do, or worse, how much we and they are worth. even that language, it's such a good example of Goyish cultural coming into our holy world. How much is he worth? How much is he worth? A human being? How much is he worth? $1 million, $2 million. Only, ignore him. He's only worth, not for us, only worth $60,000. That's how we value people. Let's go back to where we started. What's Lomi Mikol Adam? Listen to this amazing Rabbeinu Yonah. And I'm telling you, it's worth coming to Yeshiva to hear this Rabbeinu Yonah. Amr Chachmei Umas, said the wise men of the nations, Ki yodeh kol hachachmas ve'eino oyev hachachma. They're people who know everything. They're encyclopedias. They have brilliant minds. I knew someone, I had an associate like this. Exactly this Rabbeinu Yonah. The continuation. Im eino oyev hachachma. But if they don't love wisdom, again, you can ask him questions. He can answer. Rattle it off. Give the speeches. Give shas. All the stuff. Quote the Constitution. One person who read it. Eina chacham elatipe. She's a fool. Akar she'eino oyev hachachma. Because he doesn't love wisdom. You don't see in him any desire. You know he doesn't have it. We don't know how to judge people. But it's obvious. There's no love there. He's a genius. He's a crazy genius. He just goes, the books go in, answers come out, but there's no love. The person who loves wisdom, desire. It's unbelievable. He knows what? Nothing! That's called a chacham. He'll get there. This person is a static, it's a computer. AI doesn't, I hope we realize that, right? Even AI, even though it's a chachma, it doesn't love chachma. There's no Abbas Torah in AI, Balzeh Amr Ben Zoma. Ezo chachma lomi mikol adam. That's what Ben Zoma. It's not a Ben L'Chavera. It's Ben L'Atzma. It's something in a person himself. It's nothing to do with Ben. It's not to make that guy feel good. Oh, I asked him a question. That's a nice thing. You ask someone a question, make him feel good. That's good. It's nothing to do with this Mishnah. Halomi kol shekol kach oev hachacham misavela shishol kol adam. He can ask any person for wisdom. He knows something I don't know. I want to hear it. That's lomi kol adam because it shows us it's a sign, it's a siman of who the person is. That he's someone who's lomi mikol adam has this midah of being so desirous of wisdom. Av sheni yodeh kim davar echad yom imenu. He knows one thing. I know Shas, but he was by this person. Not me, saying someone says, right? But this person heard something. I want to hear. He's a simple person. You go see one of the Gedolei Ador at a wedding, going over to a simple person. You say, what was that about? He comes into the room, everybody's dancing around about him, kissing his hand, then he goes over to the simple person. He said, well, I heard one time this person was next to the Brisker Rav. I wonder, what did he say to you? Az Yitzchak Darko. Incredible. Who doesn't want to be a chacham? What's a chacham about during these days? It's all about the same point, about desire. The same desire that the Sefer Chinuch spoke about, specifically towards Torah. It's a general thing to wisdom. A person desirous. That's the chacham. I always like to mention that Rabbeinu Yonah quoted Chachmei Umas in this. He quoted he himself was Lomi Mikol Adam. He was learning from the secular scholars of the world. By the way, the Greeks, I don't remember what their first word was, but the Greeks had the original word they used to use to describe a wise man was like someone who's a repository of wisdom. And then they changed it to philosopher, which means lover wisdom. That was a change amongst the Greeks. Philosoph means lover. Philo is philo is love, and soph is wisdom. They lover wisdom. So they themselves have this. So we see that Chachma is all about desire. You're not what you eat. You're what your desires are. And we have to learn to start looking at ourselves and others through Ratzon. The power, the supremacy of Ratzon, of desire, of being desirous for the right things. What do I want? What should I want? How do I start wanting the right things? Think about how far you'll go when you want something. It's incredible, the potential of a human being when they want something. Mother asks the child, Sonny, take out the garbage. Oh, it's 15 meters away. It's a mitzvah d'oraisa. I'm just so tired. I'm beat, You're beat. You slept till 3 in the afternoon. And while you beat, you're a teenager. 15 minutes later, Mom, I need the car. Well, I parked it like 3 kilometers away. No problem, jogging away. What's the difference? Here he can't go 15 meters. He's going 3,000 meters. Makara. Here he has a desire. Here he has no desire. There's an incredible line from Rav Kook on how central Ratzon is. Matim l'misha amra. Haratzon yisod ha'chaim. Desire is the yisod, the foundation of life. Hu mochrach li'opoim b'chaim. It has to be pumping. Desire has to be pumping through our veins. Hamusar, haTorah, Musar and Torah, Kol Ar Kodesh ve'Elyon. All the great ideas. Tzarchu l'f'ol olav. Yeshir has to straighten our desire. Avalola tashtesh kocho. You see sometimes a fellow with a lot of desire, a lot of rutzon all over the place. He gets into learning, he turns into like a wallflower. Kook is saying that's not the way. The rutzon has to be there. The Torah, Musar, Kor or Elyon has to be miyasher, put in the right direction for sure. But the people aren't vibrant and alive, that's not the way. So this is what Sphere is all about. A deep desire to get to the greatest thing. To realize that Torah is about what everything is about. And that the purpose of the world in Yetzias Mitzrayim was that, and therefore we're chalashing for this day of Nesinas HaTorah, when we will live again the idea of Rekabel the Torah, and it's happening again, as we know from the Ramchal. When will the day finally come? So, we learn, friends, that it's not enough to learn Torah, and it's not even enough to learn how to learn Torah. We have to develop our ratzon, our desire for Torah. We have to develop our avas Torah, our love for Torah. How far does this love go? The pasuk at the end of Shir Shirim says this: Mayim rabim lo yuchlu chavas ava. Many waters cannot douse the flame of love. Unaharos lo yishtafua. Torrential rains and rivers won't wipe it away. Im yitin ishis kol hom beiso ba'ava, which the pasuk shot is: if a person will give all of his possessions to get a person to give away his love. I'll pay you everything for your child. I won't do it. I'll pay everything for your mother-in-law. They scorn such a person. You think he's going to give up his child for $1 billion? You're crazy. Boz Yevuzelo. What love are we talking about? Rabbi Yochanan, the great Amora, one of the greatest Amoraim. Rabbi Sinish of Eretz Yisrael, the Gemara says. Father Yushalmi Talmud, and so many Rabbi Yochanan, look how many Talmidim he had just now in the Gemara we're dealing with Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan having mitayel solik miTiveria l'Tziporin. He was walking, and he walked from Tiveria to Tziporin, close by town to Tiveria, places that we know, places we go to. Rabbi Chia bar Abba Masmechle, Rabbi Chia bar Abba was next to him. Masan Chad Beis Chakal. They got to a sada, they got to a field. Amr said Rabbi Yochanan, Hadein Beis Chakal Havi Didi. This was my field. Didn't say Rabbi Yochanan anymore. This is Venus, I sold it. Yaseh, Biglal the Mitzki Baraisa. To learn and to be Zoch, he didn't have money, I needed money. I would have had to leave, I would have had to be involved in who knows what. And I sold the field to keep myself learning. That was the first thing. Matan Chad the Beis Karma. And then they got to a Kerem. It's that country. Maybe it was Dalton. Maybe it was another one. So many. We know the wine country. And they got to that wine country. Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, Hadein Beis Karma Didi Hadis. That was mine also. This Venus Yaseh B'Glol Mitzki Baraisa, and I sold it to keep steiging. Another thing. Matan Chad the Beis Zesa. Then they finally got to a olive field where they produce olive oil. Lots of money in olives. Look at an olive tree. It's tremendously productive. Amar, guess what? Said Rabbi Yochanan to Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Beis Zesa Didi Habe, it was mine. There's a Venus, Yaseh, Biglal and Miska Barais, and I sold it. So he sold his sada, his stam field, he sold the kerem, he sold the vineyard, he sold the wine business, and he sold the olive oil business. Shar Rabbi Chia Bachi. Rabbi Chia started crying. He saw this, he started crying. Why are you crying? And you see the beauty between the conversation between two Amoraim. Rebbe, you didn't leave anything for your old age. Where's your pension? Epis. Something. You had a field. You had a care. You had an olive. You sold everything. I mean, he was already Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan lived a long life. It was just kept going and going. How long? The original field must have kept him going for a while. And the vineyard for sure kept him going for a while. But going, you didn't leave anything for yourself. And his concern and his love for the great Rabbi Yochanan made him cry. And by the way, we know that Rabbi Yochanan lost all 10 children. So he had nobody to take care of him. That Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan didn't understand. Amalei kali beinecha, masha shasiti, shemacharti davar shnur b'shishi. What I sell? I sold a field that's created in 6 days for the Torah, which was created in 40 days. Kanisi davar shnit l'arbaim yom shnever, but it's small. Look what I got instead. Nothing. What I did makes perfect sense. I couldn't be happy with my decision. I do it all over again, the exact same thing. Give me another field, I'll sell it also. Kadamak Rabbi Yochanan. The medrash continues. And when Rabbi Yochanan passed away, Habedora Koryalov. The generation, the whole generation was Kori on him. Not a single person. It's unbelievable. The generation, you don't find that language so much. We often find one was eulogized another. The generation was maspid him. Everybody knew this. Koryalov, im yitin is just call home base so ba'ava. Shah Rabbi Yochanan, you imagine someone else who gave a lot. This one gave so much for this one gave so much for that, to be an Olympic athlete. It's nothing. At the Torah Bozi Vuzelo. And no other love was comparable to Rabbi Yochanan's love. He gave up everything for the Torah. I didn't write it down, but I'm reminded that a young Reb Meir Shapiro's mother, Reb Meir Shapiro was shagging as a little boy, and a mother cares about a child. And she said, America, it's a little bit of Mesiras Nefesh for such a big Torah. It's not so big what you're doing, Meir. This is obviously a tremendous madrega. But it shows us, you have to start developing our own opposite Torah a little bit. And during Sphere is the time to do it. So how do we start? One loves what they enjoy. I love steak. I love pizza. I love fish. What do you mean you love fish? If you really love fish, you wouldn't be part of the process which kills so many that they get, the poor fish, the poor halibut, they're knocking out, trolling. I love fish. You're killing fish. Killing in mass numbers, bringing it to close to extinction. I'm just schmooze, to bring it to your plate, to get it in your tummy. What you mean is you enjoy fish. But it's interesting. That's what you mean. I enjoy fish. You don't love fish. You enjoy fish. But our way of speaking shows us how to develop love. We love what we enjoy. And accordingly, if we want to somehow, touch these things, we have to develop our enjoyment in learning. And this enjoyment isn't something we should feel unreligious about, or that it hurts our learning the Shema. You hear that? Well, I should enjoy it. This is a religious act. I don't want to enjoy it too much. I don't want to get a geschmack out of it. Listen to these famous words of the Sarah Torah, Eglei Tal, Eli Gesakat Shavar. Umidi daber bo zocher ma shamati ktsas ben adam tom b'derech haseichel binyan limud haTorah kadosh. People say, ki alomin mechadish chidushim v'samech misani b'limudo. Someone has too much joy in their learning. Ain't it limud haTorah kol kach lishma? That's not so lishma. It's not so desire. Everybody knows lishma is like lishma, like the Mishnah says. Kmoim haya alomin peshidish. Like someone learns a Pashas. I don't want to go too much into it. I'm going to learn Pashas. Simple. Shema b'limud shumtanu v'rak l'shem mitzvah. I'm learning l'shem mitzvah. This is a religious act. And I'm engaging with it like a religious act. There's probably some famous Latin way to say it. Yeah? Blah, blah, blah. That. Yeah? Just me giving over myself to the divine desire to learn. I come to Seder like a robot. Oh. You also are enjoying. You enjoy the pizza, you enjoy the learning. It's not religious. Now, we understand who's speaking here. This is the Eglei Tal. Eglei Tal, Nukol Tarkula, like the fingers on your hand. He was Mamish Sarah Torah. Look at the Svarim. Eglei Tal. No one learns Shabbos, doesn't learn Eglei Tal. Nobody who's involved in Psak doesn't learn Avnei Nezer. He was considered his generation in this place incredible. Ube'emes it tells him before some, this is a famous mistake. Va'adarabah, that's wrong A terrible mistake. Ki hi ikar mitzvahs limud Torah liosas v'sameach u'misanig limudo. The ikar Torah is the opposite, to enjoy it. Vaz divrei Torah nivloim b'dama. And then it becomes part of you. When you enjoy it, it becomes part of you, so you're supposed to enjoy it. That's how you become connected. What you enjoy, you love. And that's how we'll say in our language, that's how you love it. B'zara Kaddish, the Bein Yetzirah Tov, and he brings an interesting proof, I'll just share that. The Bein Yetzirah Tov, Bein Zara, Ein Miskav, and Mitoch Simcha. We all have Yetziharas. When we have Simcha, and what we shouldn't, that builds the Yetzirah, Lo Aleinu. But when we have Simcha, and what we're supposed to, that builds the Yetzirah Tov. Yetzer Tov mitgadel mitoch simcha shel Torah. The Zohar says. Yetzer Tov. So you build your Yetzer Tov. I build my good desires by simcha shel Torah, by enjoying learning. So now he says, V'im amar shal yidei simcha sheish lo me'alim v'nikra shelo l'shma, or kol ponim l'shma v'shelo l'shma. If it wouldn't be a good thing, how would it develop my Yetzer Tov? If the joy was good, if the joy was bad, and it's not the way it should be, so it shouldn't develop the Yetzer Tov, it should develop the other side. Harei simchazu, so that's this proof from the Zohar. Harei simchazu od megareya kocha mitzvah. It's the simcha is making it less. I would have learned religiously, then I would be doing a good thing. But since I'm putting in my avos atzmi, what I enjoy, then it's hurting it. So if the Yetzer Tov gets bigger, the Zohar tells us, when you enjoy learning, the Yetzer Tov goes bigger, that's the right way to do it. Incredible proof. So then he just finishes. He says, of course, if a person only doesn't have in mind the mitzvah, I'm just learning for enjoyment. I'm sitting in a university, God, Torah, Chazal, I like Talmud. That not. That's like eating matzah. I happen to be eating matzah. I don't even recognize it as a mitzvah. Everybody else in the hotel is eating matzah. I'll also eat matzah. I don't believe in God. That's not a mitzvah. But you're eating matzah and you have anan the mitzvah, that's still the mitzvah. This is how he finishes. L'shem mitzvah. But you know that it's a mitzvah, of course. I'm doing Ratzon Hashem by learning Torah. But I also have enjoyment. That's the highest level. Okay, so that's the getter. Of course, some people go too far with this. Forget to read the whole thing. You have to read the whole lot. Maybe there's more there. Maybe we'll do one Super Shabbos. But that's it. Of course, you have to have on Tanug, and that's the Ikar mitzvah. Of course, you have to know it's Kadosh Baruch Hu's Torah, and reading Kadosh Baruch Hu's Torah. It's not the Quran. Alternate texts. We'll learn this, we'll learn that. Shakespeare, Zechariah, Quran. No, that not. But when the person knows it's a mitzvah and knows I'm learning for that, but the added hana makes the mitzvah much, much greater. And every day we down for enjoyment and learning. Rebna, don't rush Birchas HaTorah. I'm speaking to myself. Say them slow, with feeling, concentration, once a day. You say Birchas HaTorah, say Rebna, Kadosh Baruch Hu, help me to enjoy. Help all Klai Yisrael to enjoy. Help all Yeshiva to enjoy. Help all the fellows in my Yeshiva to enjoy. Okay, so how do we enjoy our learning though? There's a narcissistic expression. To know me is to love me. I know which actress said that. And often, those that have a lot of superficial glick, it's exactly the opposite, right? The more you know them, the more you see the incredible shallowness and haughtiness, right? But with the Torah, it's the truth. To know the Torah is to love the Torah. The more one digs in and sees how amazing the Torah is, the more you get to love it. So we want to get to love. The way to get to love is enjoyment. The way to get to enjoyment is by knowledge. According, you have to spend a lot of time. Learning a lot. Spending time. Is that what brings enjoyment? Don't complain you don't enjoy it if you're not putting in the time. That's a silly complaint. I just don't. You're coming late, leaving early, distracted half. I don't mean anybody here. I'm just saying, ex-person. How would you enjoy that? Person learns for a long time. It takes time to open the barriers. Of course, part of that is knowing what you're doing. But it's also time, just time. Person has to put in a lot of time to get the enjoyment. And it's knowing what you're doing. It's hard to love which one cannot comprehend. To the extent, Baruch Hashem, we're all in a place which so deeply educates in how to learn Torah and gets us so much along the way. Starting the way. We see the beauty of Gemara. We see the Geschmack of a Rashi. So that's ahava through enjoyment through asik. Ava, enjoyment asik. Another way to Avas Torah is more subtle. Humans love greatness. We're all drawn to greatness. Accordingly, you have to take time and reflect on the godless of the Torah. Look at how Shas covers every question of mankind. It's incredible. Look how the Tanaim and Amoraim strove for truth, and the Rishonim and the Achronim. Look at how many ways there is to learn a single pasuk. It's mind-boggling. And they all make sense. How could there be so much wisdom hidden in 8 or 10 words? There's no other book like that. But you need to reflect on that, let those feelings develop. One other thing about love. As we know, we sacrifice for things we love. That's a sign of love. You love your wife, means you sacrifice for her. You love your child, means you sacrifice for them. Like Rabbi Yochanan. And that's a question we can all ask ourselves. We're not on Rabbi Yochanan's level to sell all our worldly possessions and leave nothing for ourselves for some more learning time, nor would the rabbis in this yeshiva generally advise such. Where'd all your money go? But there are people living on nothing. Kol Chazanish applies to us to elevate these people and appreciate them, not look down on them. But what sacrifice are we willing to make? You're tired, frustrated, feeling down. Can you push another 10 minutes? You're very hungry. It's lunchtime. The gentle song of the schnitzel is calling out to you. But your Rebbe is there now and you didn't understand something this year. Can you ask for 2 minutes? You're shy and it's hard for you to ask questions. But you know if you don't, you will not become wise. There's a Torah scholar you'd like to make a personal relationship with, but you know that he's a little rough around the edges. No one in this yeshiva. Are you ready to sacrifice a little bit of comfort to connect to him? Well, he might not smile at me. He might not tell me. Okay. You're not Bozi Avuzla. You're not going to sacrifice a little. You have a question, but you're advanced. Will you go to someone less knowledgeable than you that might have the answer? You won't sell your stock options. But will you give up on the next millions to have a little bit of a first Seder? To learn like a mensch, 9 to 12, 9 to 11? You made money already. You don't need that much money. I want to end with the story of the Meshech Chochmah. He would learn 18 hours a day for 18 years, become Rabban Shel Yisrael. A young Meir Simcha before he was the Rav of Dvinsk, before he was the world-famous author of Or Sameach. He was learning with a sugi with his uncle, the Rav of Knishin, Rav Yecheskel Chayfetz. And they were stuck in a Tosfos. Couldn't move. Nothing was working. And Rav Meir Simcha said to his uncle, his older uncle, let's stop and daven for Avas HaTorah. Let's stop and daven that we should love the Torah. His uncle said, Rav Yecheskel said, why not just daven to understand? Why should we daven for love? Listen to Rav Meir Simcha's response. Have you ever observed a babysitter attempting to soothe the crying infant? A babysitter. First she tries one thing, then another, and still the baby's crying. But as soon as the mother picks up the child, there's an instant and intuitive comprehension of what the baby needs. Sometimes what is needed most for real understanding of a problem is deep, unconditional love. So Meir Simcha down for Avas Torah. Ahavata Torah is so central to Torah, so central to our lives, so central to Sphira, so central to Klal Yisrael, and so central to what we all want to become. Now is the time to daven for Avas Torah and to develop Avas Torah. And Bezrat Hashem, by working on our Avas Torah over these days, we'll be totally transformed and going to Shmuze the right way. Hatzlacha.